Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, be it LPs or singles, and after I've listened to them all week, I come back here and I review them and I share what I think about them. So without further ado, let's get to this week's first release. Aodhán King of Hillsong Young and Free's solo debut, Beyond Us. So before I dive into Aodhán King of Hillsong Young and Free's sole debut album, Beyond Us, let me thank the Christian Life for requesting this album, along with CLOUD's debut single that I'm gonna get to at the end of this video. But let's talk about Aodhán King here. So, pretty good album here. I would say I'm a little more likely to listen to the Hillsong Young and Free stuff. But that being said, pretty good album here from Aodhán. Stylistically here, definitely a collection of worship ballads, for the most part, that are strongly alternative influence, somewhat contemporary influence. And there's still a little bit of that pop Hillsong Young and Free influence in his solo work too. A few upbeat moments here too. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Aodhán King talks about how he praises the Lord Jesus for how even when Aodhán strays into sin and doubt, he can peacefully trust in Jesus in his unchanging love and grace to keep his promise to faithfully be with Aodhán, to change him through the cross to be free from sin, to surrender his life, to follow Jesus' sovereign leading and glorifying him in all circumstances. Up next, J.J. Howard's new album, I Dream of You, Home. Alrighty, to Christian Life, I'll get to your other request of Low Cloud's debut single, Sleepwalking, in a little bit. But before I do, I'm just going to take a little aside here to talk about a few other releases. Starting with J.J. Howard's new lullaby album, I Dream of You, Home. Let's dive into it. So on this album, she covers various songs, including Home by Philip Phillips, Fix You by Coldplay, Take Me Home, Country Roads by John Denver, Two of Us by the Beatles, The House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert, This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie, Won't You Be My Neighbor by Mr. Rogers, Take Me Home by Phil Collins, Rocky Top by the Osborne Brothers, Disney's It's a Small World, Home on the Range by Gene Autry, Our House by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and Lonely People by America. She also does a orchestral version of one of her recently released singles earlier this year, Love It Here. So now let's dive into it. So I gotta say, I think the new versions, her versions of the songs, are quite different from the original versions, I feel like, but that's my take. Pretty good album here. A little different stylistically than what I would normally go for, but in my personal listening, but good album here. Stylistically, leans toward the ballad side of things, but some upbeat moments here too. Contains elements of pop, contemporary, alternative, and folk. With some notable orchestral influence, we also hear a children's choir backing J.J. Howard a bit as well. And as for the lyrics here, good themes here in the lyrics. And as for the lyrics here, J.J. Howard talks about how when we're worn out into sadness and fear from loneliness, we need to go back home, where the love of those who love us can guide us out of it to be who we really are. Up next, Jockey Hill Perry's new EP, Practice. Jockey Hill Perry's new EP, practice. Let's dive into it. So pretty good EP here. Stylistically, definitely a collection of hard-hitting hip-hop bangers that are first and foremost trap influence, but definitely some notable lo-fi influence as well. R&B worship influence sneaks in on a couple of the tracks too. Pretty hard-hitting throughout, and I gotta say, she goes crazy on the beat changes on some of the tracks, which is cool. Vocally here, for the most part, rapping vocals, but there are singing vocals on here at a few points as well, usually from guest artists. There are some vocal samples used here as well. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here, Jackie Hill Perry talks about how she peacefully trusts her faith in Jesus' love through his blood and his death on the cross to restore her from her past of sin and trauma, to give her life of strength, to joyfully, uncompromisingly preach this truth through rap to a world of deception, as she trusts God to protect her. Up next, Future's new EP, Altars. Future's new EP, Altars. Let's dive into it. So pretty good EP here. Stylistically, the first two songs have kind of an upbeat pop rock worship feel, while the remaining four songs are contemporary worship ballads with some degree of alternative influence here. Now as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. Futures talks about how they fearfully resisted the Lord Jesus as they sinfully tried to live in their own weak strengths, until in his grace he pursued them through his sacrificial blood on the cross to change them free from sin and in shame, to surrender all their lives to following his leading and reflecting this change as they trust him to give them strength for victory over pain. Up next, our last release for today, CLOUD's debut single, Sleepwalker. Alrighty, the Christian Life, I'm gonna get to your other request here of CLOUD's new debut single, Sleepwalker, and thanks again for requesting it. And before I really dive into my thoughts on it, let me take a minute to talk about CLOUD. So yes, they're a new band, but they have some faces you are probably familiar with. Former Sanctus Real members, Matt Hammett and Jake Rye, and former Cutlass member, Nick DeParty. Now that I got that out of the way, let's dive into the song itself here. So pretty good song here, stylistically, definitely an upbeat alternative rock feel. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here too. Talks about how when you wandered into who you're not meant to be, you need Jesus to revive you from death to have life. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. If you like what you saw in this video, please subscribe. I put out videos every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I may have said about them, let me know down in the comments below. Also in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases that came out today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the playlist section for my Music Muffin Stream playlist, available here on YouTube and also on Spotify. And this month's edition of the playlist includes songs from artists like Sidewalk Prophets, The Afters, Some Time Down, and others, so go and check that out if you're interested. And the playlist will remain up through Thursday, and next Friday starts a brand new month, so that means, yes, I will be putting out an update for the My Music Moments Dreams playlist before my video next week. So be on the lookout for the playlist update next Friday, and then new video to follow just a little bit later. Well, go now. See you next week. Bye!